the presenters will be able to share their contacts, and then we'll be able also to share their presentations at the end, so you can easily get in touch to them if you're interested to get in touch to them, of course. So now, after this brief introduction, I would like to leave to the chairman of the IoT Alliance, which is Jörg Schiller, which will give a brief introduction about the European Technology Chapter. And then after that, we will start with our session. So please, Jörg. You're in mute, Jörg.
Yes, I just have to unmute. Yeah. So a very warm welcome also from my side. My name is Jörg Schiller. I'm with SIS Solutions here down in Munich. And here in the IoT Alliance, I have the task to be the chairman of this alliance. And I want to give you a brief introduction to this surrounding Utec organization that we are working in. So for everybody that is the first time here, I think could be something new for everybody who is joining us a lot of times. So take the time to just listen again. So the Utec itself was started some 5 years ago with a mission that technology obliges, so that we are able to be a network of people that have solutions in the area of technologies, and that we bring together these people and create new solutions out of that. And we have 3 main goals that we are looking at. The first one is competitiveness, so being able to act in a global world as a European company. We of course want to help to grow more and more business out of this. And the third topic is sustainability. So we are looking at the UN SDGs to really to find solutions that help to protect the nature, for example, and yeah. Okay, so next slide. So what is the structure of the Utec? So we are organized in alliances, and these alliances are grouped in 3 categories. The first one is we have regional alliances that adopt to specific countries or regions in the world to help to develop for these goals in this area, independent of the technologies and the topics, but just being able to help, for example, the Benelux countries to follow these goals. Then we have impact alliances that are more horizontal alliances, giving us topics like finance, so how to invest in those technologies, looking at climate action, where you need a lot of technology to bring these topics more in the front, or women in tech, also a really good and important topic that we are looking at, and that's independent of the countries that you're in. And on the right side, we see the tech alliances, and one of these is, you see it down on the bottom, the IoT Alliance. So there we are looking specifically on technologies. Here it is, our topic is IoT used in different areas. So let's jump to the next. So which is the offering of the Utec? So if you like to join the Utec, what is in there for you? The first thing is we had a lot of these beside of this online meetings that we're doing in the moment because of the pandemic situation still. We're looking at so-called offline events again. We did that in the past, and we want to start to do that again beginning in this year in different regions, which means really personal meeting and talking to each other. And we hope that we get that up and running again if the situation is okay for that. So The most important thing that Utec is looking at is networking. So we have a platform that we are in the moment also in to network, to show, to do webinars and digital talks. And we want to help to of course, the members of the Utec, but also by these open digital talks, that everybody that is interested is able to network with each other. So you can see a little bit of the numbers that we already have inside of the Utec. So it should be a really easy task for us, and the help is very good in that. So if you have a technology question where you say, hey, there's a problem out there and I have a specific part of solution, but not the whole part, for example, some hardware is missing, some software stack is missing, then Utec can help you to find the right partner and to bring up a new solution coming out of that. We're doing a lot of network meetings like this one that we're doing now, but also inside of the alliances. So we have meetings to talk about the future, the next topics, or specific initiatives that we start out of that. So you see here, there's a lot of communication between the members, and that's really fully supported and wanted from the Utec side. We have of course, a homepage, so a place where we put all the information, and you can get access to that too if you like to join us as a company or as a person. So that should be the really short overview about the Utec that is helping us as an IoT Alliance to work in that direction, so that I explained. And I'm very happy to have three really big guests here that are talking with us about not so much the technology today. We had more and more technology sessions where we presented the news that comes up out of that area. But now we want to look more on the business side. So what is hindering us to bring IoT solutions into the market? What are the success factors? So which help can we offer as an alliance to all of you here in the audience? So let's discuss about that in the second part. So we have the public chat, as Alessandro already mentioned. So bring in your questions, bring in your remarks, and Alessandro, as a moderator afterwards in the panel discussion, will take them up, and we try to have a very active communication in that panel at the end. But now I'd like to hand over to Alessandro again to start our session and the presentation. I keep my fingers up for a good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jörg, for your great presentation. So I think now we can start with our session. And our first speaker will be Alexander Frigo, which I have already promoted as presenter. And let me just give you a very brief introduction of Alexander. Alexander is a global digital consultant and works for A1 Digital. Alexander supports and advises companies on using the opportunities that IoT, AI, and digitalization offers to us. He uses industry know-how to tailor solutions specifically to the respective steps in the value chain. Based on many years of experience in the business-to-business area, product management, and marketing and sales functions, Alex is a true senior and always up to date when it comes to new business models. So we have here a truly expert in new business models by using the IoT technology. So I'm really interested to listen to you, Alex, and see what you can present to us today. So it's your turn, Alex, please.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thank you for the brief introduction. Thank you very much. Good morning from my side. I'm really happy to present my slides today. So yeah, let's start. New business models with IoT. What are the challenges here? Let's start yeah, with today we have already some smart and connected products. What can we think about that? What is that? Some examples here. You all know maybe some e-rollers, and these e-rollers, of course, are connected, and you get some data out of it. So it's for example the battery status, how many power you need for driving such an e-roller, which speed, which direction, navigation, time, and so on and so on. Many data. So this is, for example, just an e-roller. On the other side, data also helps a lot. For example, for a farmer, the farmer needs to grow, his plants. We need the plants, of course, for the food, and so the farmer needs to know when it's the best time to seed, and also to know when he gets the plants grown. So temperature, weather, of course, rain, sun. So these are, like I said, connected products, smart products, and yeah, it would be great. I always tell my customer, you can almost connect everything and get the data out of it, and make the best business for you then, and also for your customers. So we have today with connected products, we have you heard about it, product as a service, consumption-based products. But on the other side, and here is the line between, we have still this classic hardware. You get in the shop, you get the box, get out of it, that's it. One-time price, no service, nothing behind that, no data-driven, nothing. Let's see this best case on an example. So we have, again, on the left side, the classic hardware, and on the right side, the data-driven business model, the connected products, smart products. Best example maybe is also a printer, a classic printer, you all know. So we have a business printer, and we want to now have for the printer on the other side some business models for that. So for example, predictive maintenance, so that you know when the printer needs a service. So also some consumer goods that you know, okay, I need now the black toner, please deliver me the black toner in 2 days, because in 5 days it will be empty. And also product as a service, so that you pay for every printed page, and you do not have to buy the whole printer. So this is the printer. I think it's a good example. So what is in between that? So you have the classic hardware product on the left side, and you have the data-driven business model. And this is, especially when I come to the customer, they always say, hey, what can we do out of a classic hardware product? What can we do that we have it smart and connected? And in between, you need some points. And this is mostly, in most cases, these 4 points. Let's start with this. The first point is hardware. Of course, a printer is, there's hardware inside, we have electronic inside, so that screen we can connect it somewhere. The next one is the connectivity. Most of the printers today, they have an LAN connectivity, so you can connect it, and the data is then sent. But what about the 2 other points? We have the platform, so monitoring, and there comes the first questions. Who should see the data? Where should be this platform? Do I need some alarms? I mentioned before, toner, service, consumables. I mean, you maybe know this from the office. You want to print something and the printer is down, and you need the paper right away because you have to go to the meeting or somewhere else. And this is, of course, if you do some predictive maintenance, or you know in before the toner will be empty in 1 week, please send me a toner. So these are some points where I need, okay, and an alarm would be perfect here. How much data do I need? Do I need every data kilobyte from the printer, or just the necessary one? So these are quite crucial points here. And the last big one is analytics. I always, when I'm in a workshop or speak with the customers, I say, yeah, it's nice that we connect the data, that we transfer the data, that we have a platform, but what should we do with the data? I mean, we connect so much, but it would be great if we do a predictive maintenance, that we know the printer goes down in the next 5 days, or that then he needs a service. Yeah. So please work with the data, see if the data can help you, and also helps it for your business case and for your end customer. So this is really also a really necessary point, analytics. So that's the transformation from a printer to a smart connected product. I have a second example. It's a bicycle. And a bicycle, if you have a standard bicycle, there is nothing inside. But now on the other side, we want to have a connected bicycle. So today the world changed. Maybe you have a standard bicycle, but a lot of e-bikes now come on the market. And yeah, you need some changes here in your classic product mind, and go to a data-driven connected product. So think about anti-theft service, repair service, ride and share. In big cities, you can rent a bike for some minutes, for an hour, to get to your office, put it there, it stopped, somewhere else can take the bike, and so on. So this is a quite easy way to share your bike. But what's in between? And again, I have these 4 points. So hardware, connectivity, platform, and analytics. But if we start with the hardware, a typical bicycle, there is no electronic hardware or something like that. So we need to think about how can we add hardware here to the bicycle. So power supply, a really big point. We need some telematic with a battery there. The battery should be charged somewhere or not. It should hold for up to at least 6 years, 5 years, 10 years. Certifications, CE certification. How is the process behind it? So think about the hardware. At the first step, at the printer, okay, this was a check. We had the hardware, we had the electronic, but in a typical bicycle, we do not have it. When we come to the next step, the second point, connectivity. We had it at the printer with the LAN, but on a bicycle, we do not have. We have no LAN, we have no VLAN, no nothing. So we have to think about the connection. And always think about in a bigger way. Don't think about only your city. If you're producing a bicycle, you maybe sell the bicycles worldwide. So think about the connectivity. Your connectivity is maybe in your home country different to Asia, to America. 2G, 3G, 4G, narrowband IoT, LTE, Cat M1. So these are another connectivities here, and this depends already on the hardware, which hardware you put there in, which protocols you have. Maybe if you put the bike back in the charging station, you maybe can connect to Wi-Fi station and upload the data. So these are stuff you have always think about on the connectivity side. Let's see about the platform. It's the same like before. We had it with the printer. Which platform is usable? Also think about the platform for the end customer and the platform for you. Which data should be shown? Where should I put the platform? On-premise, cloud. So we had that before. And last but not least, analytics. Always I mentioned, please work with the data you collected at first. Please work with it. Predictive maintenance. When the bike needs to go to service, maybe the bike is outside of your city, you have to collect it, get it, bring it back. It needs some time. And if the bike is broken down before, then maybe it's worse, and you have to spend more resources, more costs in. And what you see now is you have the whole process. And on the left side, the bicycle is out of scope, and also on the right side, the business models are out of scope. So please always keep the whole process. Don't forget about, of course, the classic product, but please see the whole process behind that. That's really necessary. Yeah, so this is I would say the path we had. Let's go back once. This can be every product. It's a bicycle, the printer we mentioned. This can be, I don't know, car, waste management, waters, washing machine, everything we know, we can connect. So if you have a classic product, please think about at first what is the business model, what kind of business model I need at the end, and then please start the whole process and go through it. So this is from my experience, from our experience, yeah, a quite good process to do that. On at the end and start, we have the industry experts, and in between, of course, we have a lot of technology, and I will come later to it. These two should work together: the industry experts and the technology experts, and of course also the strategy experts. This should be in a whole project team. This would be great. Yeah, and now let's come to the business models. So we have different kind of business models. We have pay-per-use, yeah, like I mentioned at the printer. You have a pay-per-use model where you pay just the pages you print. Outcome-based models. Also ESG, CO2-based models. Looking for the environment. Data-driven models. Machine learning, data analysts. This is a quite upcoming business model. Subscription based, also service, sharing and tracking. It always starts with a just simple tracking case. I just want to know where is my device. I just want to know where is my asset. But then it comes more and more. Yeah, there it comes the predictive maintenance. Then there you want to connect more sensors, get more data. So it always starts. Most cases, I just want to track something, or I just want to see some data of it. But the project now then grows and grows, and it comes even more out. But let's see these points in an example. Some stories, some use cases. Maybe then it's also a little bit clearer. So for example, customer of us, Akuri, this is a case and security case where you can put in some money, some jewelry or whatever. So assets which are high value, and this producer of these cases wanna know, of course, where is the case, who opened the case, and also give at the right time the access to open the case and then close it again. So this is a real tracking based, security based business model. So you really know where is the case, and the customer also knows, okay, my jewelry is on a safe side, the case is tracked. I know every second where it is, and also only authorized people can open it. And if there is something, of course, I get an alarm. Yeah. So this is, I would say, the power of IoT. Just a simple case, and also from the mind view, I know, okay, I can be relaxed. Everything is on a safe side and is controlled and connected. So I would say this is some classic tracking business model. Another business model is here, for example, an hydrant. So if you customer of us, Hable, they want to connect the hydrants and see on the first side if there is an unauthorized access. We have now the summertime coming. A lot of people want to fill up their pools, and you can go there and open it, and with the right key you get out water out of it. But of course this is not authorized, and this is something for the environment. So ESG business model, because water water is one of the things that we need in life. So this is really crucial that not a lot of water gets out here. This is controlled, and this was one big case for this producer of the hydrants, that he sees if there is an authorized or unauthorized access. On the other side, the Havre has also service team outside. And the service team went every month to this hydrant and checked if everything is right. If it's closed, is it working? Is water inside the hydrant? Because when you open a hydrant, you open it quite below, some meters below, and the water comes up. But if the water stands already in the hydrant and it's get cold, for example, or it stands long weeks, then it's not working anymore. And when the fire brigade comes there and needs water, there's nothing more than a fire brigade. If you come to houses burning and you need water and there is no water. Yeah. So this was also a big thing. And on the right top corner, you see an IoT device. This was specially made for them, and this is with a battery and with a measurement. And this controls if it's water stands inside, and also if someone opens the hydrant and gets water out of it. So it's on the one side an ESG factor, and on the other side, this is a quite big business model for the producer, because he do not needs to send every time a team out. He has a map on the IoT platform, sees the green lights of the hydrant, and knows, okay, there's a red light, just go there, and not on a regular base. So this is was also really good for the customer, for Havre, for the producer, and he's also selling now this solution. So this was also a big business driven and data driven model for the Havre. And the last one, ISS, facility service. So here's it more on a data-driven model, because it's the company owns some or gives some facility services to bigger customers or to some customers. So for example, cleaning, security, whatever. And they have a big pain. They had the pain that the hiring processes, the hiring costs are quite high, because on the one hand, if someone is quitting their jobs, they need to fulfill the contracts. So if you have a cleaning team in a hotel with 20 people, and on the next day the cleaning guy is not coming anymore, then still someone needs to do this job, or is secure also on the security side. And so on one hand, the person quits the job and we need to hire. This costs something. And on the other hand, you need to fulfill the contracts with the hotel, whatever, with the company. And they want to know when someone is quitting their jobs, when this will be happen out of the data. So here's the topic machine learning, out of the data they get. And what also we did, we connected the cars, so we know where they travel, these employees. Was it a lot they did today, and it was a lot of tasks and too much for them maybe, and they quit because of that? Or is it because they live outside of the city and they need to travel a lot to their working place? Or is it because they're not happy and so on? So we get a lot of data, from the cars, from the person itself, and so on. And our machine learning team then went through and said, hey guys, look up, it could be in 80% possibility that in July 2020 at this and this customer, the security will quit their job. Please see if you hire a new one, or also go to the security and speak with him what is wrong. Maybe we can do some motivation here, employee motivation, and you keep your job. So this was a quite nice project, because you want to keep your employees happy, and also you don't want to lose the customer on the other side, where you have the contracts, where you fulfill it. And so this was also a nice project with ISS to see in the future, to do some predictive here, and to see how the employee status will go into the future, and where the fluctuation is quite high, and where is it low, and then to work on it. So this was really nice for the forecasts in the HR sector. Here are some other topics which are also so for on the right top corner. This is I would say to make the world a better place because this is connected screws for the wheels. So if you're driving on a highway with a speed and one screw is turning around, you get a signal and you know that upfront, and you can go on the right side and change tire, or also on security level. So security business model. Yeah, to see if someone stole your tires, or yeah, this is also nice connectivity because the screws are connected and you get it on your smartphone. Also on the left side with coffee, so these two guys are making out of the rest of the coffee which you have in your espresso machine, whatever. They take it to grow mushrooms on it, and these mushrooms are quite special mushrooms you can eat, and then in oil, and yeah, and they take just for growing that the coffee which was already used, and yeah, so something for the environment, so environment business model. And besides that, we have the bees, which with machine learning we can see with a camera how the bees are reacting. Are they healthy or not healthy? You all know if we have no bees on the world anymore, the human species just can live 7 years without bees, and that's it. So yeah, this was also a nice project. And also on the right side, right corner, we have connecting pets, tracking, so we know where the pets are, we know what they're doing, some special movements, we know what they're doing next. So yeah, this is also some quite nice project. Yeah, yeah. So I'm coming almost to the end. What are the key takeaways? These 3 points. So IoT projects can only succeed if you really stay focused. And especially on this business problem, stay focused on that. Look on that. Don't forget about it. You saw before this whole big process. Don't forget about the product itself, and also on the business model. And in between, you can work with the technology. Please don't forget these 2 points. Please don't forget them. IoT projects, they have modular components. We saw it: hardware, connectivity, platform, analytics, the 4 pillars we saw. And we use them for every purpose, or almost every IoT project. Of course, you can have some special projects where you maybe have to add something or change something, but yeah, it's normally that it. And yeah, ask the right questions. In especially with when you're an industry and technology expert, ask the right question, and ask about what they want to do, how they want to do it. Are they sure? Is this really for the business case, right? Or you just want to do it and get a lot of data out? But you're not working with this data. I also have this a lot of customer sites. Just bring me all the data and I will do something. Yeah, but think about the business cases, please, behind, and the business models. Yeah. Yeah, and these are some takeaways, some points, also from Thomas, from my colleague, from the last 10 and more years in the IoT sector. Please be aware of these points. From my side, I can really say business is good so far. There is no competition here, that's right, but please don't forget them. Yeah, so like mentioned before, stay focused, work on this, and please don't forget about the competition. Also, the balance between technology and strategy. Yeah, it's good to have a lot of technology here, and IoT is of course a lot of technology, but please don't forget about the business cases, the strategy. Yeah, it's always good to have some mixture between. If you just have technology here, they speak about the hardware and how to connect it and which platform, but not what comes at the end. What is the business model behind it? What is what is that for my end customer? What is the right thing? Yeah, is it good for my business or is it not good for my business? Yeah. Yeah, and also some other points. If you have, for example, it's also different if you speak to an owner CEO of the company or to an employed CEO. Yeah, this also affects the business model a lot. Yeah. Prepare for crisis, of course. I mean, we all know about the pandemic, Corona, so please be aware of that. Avoid focus group. This is also a little bit so that you just have a group with hardware specialists that just the software and they never speak together. So please mix the whole project team. This is always good. I'm also doing workshops, this design thinking workshops, always with a mixture. Otherwise, it gets just in one direction and you don't see the whole full picture here. And yeah, sales should also be part of the team. Most of the people forget about the sales and that be part of the project team. Yeah, and last but not least, friend or enemy is also Thomas. By Thomas, who is your friend? Who is your enemy? Most of the time, you need someone who is your enemy, because an enemy asks questions with which the other man maybe not ask these questions. So it's always good to have here some discussions and also some enemy. Yeah, that's it from my side. Hopefully you get some points out. You can connect with me or ask me some questions anytime. I'm here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander, for your very, very interesting presentation. And of course, for everybody, if you'd like to write to Alexander, get in touch to him, or Alexander, if you want to share your email into the public chat. So
of course.
You can, yeah. And also, I think you agreed to share your presentation as well. I found several interesting points. And before I leave to Doug for his introduction, I mean, could you go back to the previous slide?
This one.
Yeah. So yes, the first sentence is business is good so far. Yes, I think with the IoT technology, what I always say is that we have just started to scratch the surface of what it is possible to do. So this is just the beginning. And then if I just turn my eyes around, then I can see I have a printer in my home that is connected. I go out of my house and I find a bicycle and a bike share or a scooter sharing program of a car that is in share, and they are all connected. Yeah. Now we have cars. Now we have cars such as the Tesla, for example, that it's almost impossible to steal because it's so much connected through satellite, through image detection. It's recording everything it's happening around and send to you messages continuously, which is becoming an impossible car to steal, and so on. So coffee machines. Here in Italy, we are one of the biggest producers in the world of vending machines. Yeah. So we have so many producers of vending machines, and now they are all connected. Yeah, you can pay with your mobile phone. The vending machine is communicating to the service people in order to get replacements in time and so on, and so forth. And so it is really a connected world, and in my opinion, it's only the beginning. So we already have some questions I can see in the public chat, but I'd like to leave to Doug because otherwise we will really have taken too much time. And hello, Doug. Yes, I will promote you as a presenter. And so if you want, you can share your presentation. And let me give a very brief introduction of Doug. before starts. So Doug Lindhall is a business manager and is employed at Avalon Innovation, and he is responsible for the business areas project assignments. That focus is on taking on complete product or system development projects, quite often with the areas of digitalization and the Internet of Things technologies. So, Doug, will be really very interested to hear about your presentation. We can say it.
Thank you. And I hope you will enjoy my presentation about the importance of your business model for a successful IoT project. 10 seconds about Avalon Innovation. We're a consultant company that develop customer products for our customers and systems for our customers, but we don't own any products or systems ourselves. We use a market-driven approach to get insights on the needs that the products or systems should fulfill, and we have ability to manage complex projects, and we have top-level technology expertise within the company, I would say. So that was actually that slide. IoT then. I would say it's not so much about which technology, but rather about how to create value and revenue and profit from it. And we see a lot of different approaches from different companies, and we try our best to help them from that point. Some observations from a lot of different companies we have been working with, and it's mainly in Sweden, and I hope it's not just a Swedish phenomena, but I have seen similar in Finland and similar in UK as well. So I don't think it is a typical Swedish problem or phenomena. At the first approach on the taking on IoT, I think many companies tend to start up an IoT project without a clear vision about what to achieve. I will stay at that point for 1 minute, and I think it many times has to do with unclear directives from management. I think many times an R&D department get an order from the management to say, well, we need to digitalize. Well, please fix it for us. And out of that, they can't do very much. And that's, of course, a stereotype, but I think in many cases it is something like that. As a consequence, I think there is often a focus on technology, what platform, what protocol, how to deal with security, and so on, instead of looking into the business. Many companies start collecting data without knowing how to use the data. It's not expensive to store data today, but it's still usually expensive to collect it. So many times there's a lot of data which there is no use for actually. Sometimes we see that our customers are pushed by their customers to do something, and quite often that results in they start giving away data that is quite valuable and could create a lot of value for the company, but instead they just give it away, and a lot of other things. But I think these are the most typical ones. Not that it's totally wrong. I think you should be allowed to test and do things, but I think still there are some other things that should be done first, or at least be planned for in a serious way. So what do companies usually do when they want to introduce a new product? Well, probably some market research, I would say. They look into expressed customer needs. They look into unexpressed customer needs. They search for real pains for the customers. They search for pains for other actors dealing with the product. They might revisit the philosophy around existing business models, and so on. Surprisingly, we believe the same goes for IoT. I think it should contribute to the business after all. And from my perspective, I think this is quite often not done in that way. So I think we should look into expressed customer needs. What do the customer actually need in the dialogue? And as we've seen before, quite often predictive maintenance is on the top list of what you can do with reasonable workload. You could look into optimized use of the product. You could look into use of a fleet of products. You should definitely look into unexpressed customer needs. And these are a little bit more tricky because they are usually not expressed because people just simply don't know what is possible. And here you can have early warnings for upcoming problems, and technologies for that is typically machine learning and AI. You could deal with competitors' products. Oh, that's daring, but I think it's a good way to create the market shares. I will show you in an example later. You should look for real pains for the customer. And here I would say that the top candidate is documentation. You could quite easily make documentation available for products digitally, and that's a very, very simple way to solve a lot of painful problems. Remote service, that might not be totally possible, but at least you can do software updates and other things that is easily handled through a network interface. And there could be pains for other actors dealing with the product. Someone will install it. It's again usually about information about documentation, and that you can easily connect to the product. You could have data statistics and other tailor-made for other groups, installers, procurement, management, marketing, and so on, which could create great value. So, business models. I would say there is definitely no generic answer, but I think you should look into and have in mind what others do. And typically subscriptions rather than sales of products and licenses is something to try to achieve. You could charge for real use. You could charge for connected nodes. You could charge for connected users, for data sets, and so on. And here you really have to dig down into what is actually the needs, because all of the things we showed in the previous, all the pains, all the needs that is discovered when you try to dig things out are actually candidates of things that could create a new revenue stream, for short. There's also one other thing I think we should focus on, and from our perspective, we often need to help the customer in other ways. Because when you have come so far that you have actually established a business model, you really know this is the way we should make business from this. There is still a way to go that is sometimes surprising the customer, and that is that the new business model or added business model, as it often is, will actually affect the organization, the company's organization. You will need to sell this new solution, this new business. and your sales force might not be up to that, so you might need education or new employees to deal with this. And surprisingly, you need to deliver as well. And it is probably a new delivery, and it's might, I don't say it should, but it might involve some work that should be handled by someone. And you also need to be able to charge. Your financial department must be staffed and supported with systems and so on to deal with this. It's not very hard and not very difficult, but it still has to be done. And you might develop or add things to some kind of support or service organization as well. So the conclusion here is that the whole project need to be supported from top level, from CEO level. And that is basically because it's usually are larger changes needed to the organization than you expect from the beginning. I will show you a little bit from example from real life, and this is about a company called Tjäders. And to not confuse the non-Swedish audience, I will say Tjäders is a Swedish surname actually. So that the company has named after the founder, and tjäder is also the name of a bird in Swedish. So that's to not confuse people about the name. Tjäders company is a Swedish SME. They are selling alarm and call for assistance systems to healthcare and elderly care. And within the project, we helped to identify services, and systems and products with potential to capitalize from, and actually started a digital transformation within the company. So the project, we started by using our Avalon innovation model, and I will not bore you with explaining all of the cues of that, but it is something, a method or toolbox that we use in more or less all our projects. We started by identifying different stakeholders in this area within the project, and we identified together with the customer the needs of these stakeholders, and that in the end resulted in some sketches of new business models. This was leading to a quite comprehensive digital transformation for the company. I will show you a little bit later. And the development of new business models and services that our customer, Tjäders, could use. And of course, also development of products and systems that supported these new business models and services. The result is called Tjäders Life, which is a new cohesive system level platform, I would say. And at the time, that was definitely an innovation. It was not existing in that form anywhere else in the world, as far as we knew. That platform had integration with, of course, Tjäders' own existing product portfolio. But we also integrated a variety of other suppliers' products. And the system creates services for a significantly more complete system with new, previously unsupported user categories, which of course creates new revenue streams. Yeah, and we also changed the way of charging for the system, of course. So this is an extremely simplified picture of the Tjäders systems. I would say, can you see my pointer? Yeah. I would say this is a typical unit that is in a hospital room, and in a hospital you can have hundreds of rooms. So it's not about one unit, it's about hundreds of similar units of similar functionality, and not hundreds, but maybe tens and twenties of displays and other things. But the point is that Tjäders as a company, they when we started working with them, they were actually selling products, boxes with products in that actually was not sold to the hospital directly, but typically to some kind of installer that actually had more the system responsibility for this. But when we started to work with Tjäders and looking for stakeholders and so on, we actually identified that there were products and users within the environment that actually were not supported but in need of information. So the result was actually Tjäders Life that actually connected all these things, retained the connectivity with the Tjäders original products, connected them together, but connected competitors' products, new products that was lived in within Tjäders product portfolio, and supported a number of new user categories with information. And all these things actually created new revenue streams in different forms. And maybe most importantly, I would say it moved Tjäders as a company upstreams in the value stream, which means that the installers that were previously customers to Tjäders, they are now more or less subcontractors because Tjäders has the system responsibility. So I will, if we have a couple of minutes, I will tell you a little bit about our Avalon innovation model, which is actually the foundation, the toolbox we use in these kinds of situations. We use names as insight and ideation, and these are very important for us because these are meaningful expressions of what we do in the different phases. And when we start to try to identify and create a business innovation, I think we usually start and typically pinpoint for a digital in business innovation. We start with something called business screening, and we do business analysis of the current situation. What are the revenue streams? Who is the customer? Where does the money come from, and so on. And then we do IoT digitalization level screening, which is sort of a maturity check of the company. Where are they in terms of digital maturity? And we define project effect and business goals, identify stakeholders and their needs, and we do a prioritization between stakeholder and customer needs. Then we start using that information we have gathered, setting strategies how to create a business model, generate and analyze business model ideas using mostly business model canvas, and in the end have a minimum viable business model for testing. And we do some test, evaluate, and select.
Sorry, can I ask you to leave some minutes also for a few questions? And then just
okay. Well, I will rush through the last, and I would say when that is done, it is more or less a standard development process using that business model as an input. I will stop there. So that's my presentation.
That was great, Dag. Just a very quick question to you. Well, I'm interested because, of course, you focus, of course, in the business model, and we are all engineers, yeah. We are all engineers, and we focus on technology. I'm
an engineer myself. So,
so what are the biggest challenges for you? I mean, for when approaching companies or you're approached by companies to focus on the business model before focusing on the actual technology.
Yeah,
which is the right path. Theory.
It is a challenge to have companies realize that it's usually a larger take on this than they think from the beginning. I think I will call it a stereotype, but I think it's quite often that some R&D department has got the task, you need to digitalize, please fix it, and then they go on as before, and that will simply not work. So I think knowledge within the company that digitalization, IoT, and the use of it will have an impact on the company, and that you need to know that. I would say Chadish is a very different company today from what they were 5 years ago.
Okay, that's interesting.
I have a comment. Thomas Kanzler here.
Yeah.
I'm the colleague of Alex Frigo. Sorry for being late a little bit. I had a medical check, and I don't care if hospitals make a lot of revenue streams. The important thing is that we are all healthy somehow, and the workload is good there.
Thomas is also part of our board of directors in the IoT Alliance, of course.
Yes, thank you very much. So, I mean, I have more than 400. I was involved, I think, in 400 projects, right? From startups, from huge corporations, and so on. And it's still the same. If you focus on technology, you fail 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
it's really bad. It's really crazy. Yeah. So basically you have 3 things, right? You have technology, and you have the strategy, of course. But what you also have is you need somebody who is a seller, a hunter, basically. You know, everybody forgets this, and everybody puts it in the wrong order. It's technology, then it's strategy, and then it's sales, right? And the whole market evaluation. What I learned from my startups, and I failed with 6 startups and 2 became successful, by the way. So I'm also customer, and not only basically IoT supplier. Is the perfect order is basically a strategy. Then you need someone who makes the contacts, who goes out and sells this stuff, and then all the people behind think about it. It sounds a little bit weird, right? But then the people think about it, how to make it happen. It is really a hard way, but then it works also statistically. But it's just my own statistics, yes. So this is just my comment on that topic.
Yeah, well, I do agree. I think that you need to focus on the business, and I think, at least from what I see, I think the challenge is to get company realize that the IoT digitalization transformation, or whatever you call it, is a larger take on than you actually usually expect.
Yes.
And Thomas, I mean, I remember on these slides from Alex that he had to leave us because of other commitments, but there were, I mean, very interesting slides which were describing the whole process, yeah, from the object and to the market at the end, and a lot of questions in the middle, yeah, opening up a lot of different paths and questions, yeah, which was the technology expert, if I remember. Yeah. So how do you orientate? How can you orientate? Because if you combine all these questions, yeah, on these slides, the red part in the middle, if you remember, yeah, how do you orientate? What, I mean, there are thousands of different kinds of technologies and combinations. So first we start from the business model, yeah, and then what do? We really need somebody that is knowledgeable of all these to get the right path.
I could write a book about that. So basically, I'm talking against my business now, right? But what I think is company do the outsourcing to consulting agencies or to consulting companies too early, right? So it would be rather better to ask their customers. I just had one case last year, the whole last year of all these projects, where a customer was in the beginning of the project, right? Or more customers. So the customer is answering you all the questions. Second topic, IoT is very beautiful, right? Because, you know, for example, if you're a salesperson and you go to a fair, you can sell to another salesperson, because the salesperson has to sell something on this fair and cannot compete with the other one who has already a new business model, right? So the other one is selling the crane for 3 million euro and the other one for 300 per month, right? And it's even the service is included, and so on and so on. And then the sales goes back to the organization, and pushes the company. So then you have already a lot of questions answered before. And I hope I will not, sorry for that, but it's really, I'm also consultant, right? But, or I have a huge consulting team globally, but I don't know why I give these first questions to consultants. You need, from my point of view, need to include, not even product management, so include the customers, include your sales team, right? And then also, and you saw it on the last slide, it depends a little bit who is the head of the company. This is super important, because an employed CEO has a contract of 2-3 years, for example, right? So he needs to make revenues and EBITDA and let's say a good margin. So he will never change the business model when, first of all, you sell for 10 million euros the hardware side on the left side, yeah. But when you change the model, you're more on an OPEX model, right? It will shrink the hardware revenue. And owner of a company or a family-owned huge company, for example, it's very important to think in 5, 10, 15 years. And most of the CEOs, the employed CFOs, unfortunately, just think in their periods, in their contract periods. Yeah. So it's so many things to combine it, but you're absolutely right. I hope I answered the question. Otherwise, we are talking. Was this answering somehow? So ask your sales, ask your customers, right? And then, of course, get help from some consultants or even technology companies. I'm talking against my company because sales does not like me a lot. We have thousands of salespeople, right? But I don't make every deal, because if a company fails already 3-4 times, yeah, or he wants to do it, or somebody else does it for another price where I know that it doesn't work, I don't do the deal. This is also very, very important. Evaluate as a client or as a customer when you have a new project. Is it who are you talking to, right? Is this somebody you can test this very, very easily? You give a very, very funny, not possible request to someone, and then you realize, does this company want to sell you something, or does they say, I will not be part of this, I will not do it, find someone else, right? So a lot of topics here, and very, of course, very, very brutal.
I do agree, and that is actually the reason why we form this toolbox and models to actually deal with all these questions, because the similarities are larger than the differences between customers' problems, actually. That's yeah. And one of the things I will emphasize is that we try to do something like a maturity screening of the company, because that will set the pace you can use to digitalize and you implement these things within the company, because you need to have the company with you.
Yes, definitely.
So that's a very interesting point. I also just write down a remark in that direction. So just let me give you a hint. So I had to talk with a company that is producing bicycles, and they are selling bicycles like hell in the moment. So they just reacted and said, we don't have time to think about digitalization. So we are happy to bring up a new production line somewhere. So we're totally in our business. That's the one side. And the other one, probably you heard that 4 days ago, OQ broke down. Yeah, a long-lasting company that tried to did a lot a lot of things in the digitalization. So they came up with streaming services and so on. But now the company broke down after more than 70 years. So my remark or question to you, just here as an input for the discussion, is long-lasting industry business models and short-term business models, like here's a new service and I use it for 1 year, and next year I take another service. So a more really fast changing way of creating business. Is that a part of the problem that we are facing here?
It's part of
I
a
think
chain.
this is part of the problem in the terms that people that don't do the job with modeling the business model properly might end up in problems. Yes, because they do a lot of assumptions of what the customer wants and need and create digitalization and a service around that, and that will fail.
That will fail, but it's also a big opportunity because it's Alex said it on one slide. So it's very simple. You need to keep an eye on all the fishes, and especially on the small fishes. So as you know, the small fishes eating the big fishes, basically. That's how it is at the moment.
Yeah. So
And if you manage in a huge corporation to act like a small fish or like a very flexible fish, then you can survive. And this is also important for providers or big MNOs like we are, for example, right? So one strategy could be, if you're a huge corporate or a huge tanker, you just create an own entity, you know, who takes care of this and give them freedom to work on it. Yeah. But
and I love the presentation from Alex showing these steps and the functionalities or platforms that you need to come from the hardware-driven business to the service-driven, and and the important word for me was reuse of that. So if you're a big tanker on the ocean, you still can have such a flexible way to think whatever every 4 weeks or 3 months about new models, and have some components that you can reuse, like an IoT platform, like whatever, and with that you're really fast to come up with new services. So that is my picture of it. So, and that's why I liked the presentation from Alex very much.
One thing is also important I want to give you. It's also very, let's say, I'm a very honest, direct person, right? And I always want that, I want to give away some things what worked for me as well, right? And Alex also had it on the slide. We read it together, and nobody understands this really. What I mean with that, by that is, so always look for an enemy in your team, always, right? It sounds a bit weird. If it's a support member, I mean, when it's really important, right? In your startup, right? In your new project, it sounds a bit weird, right? But I say it very, very aggressive right now, right? Your friends will not tell you if you stink, for example, but your enemy will tell you every day, right? And then, so basically what I mean is you need to question yourself every day if you have an enemy in my team. So I always ensure whatever I do, I have somewhere an enemy close next to me. And it sounds a bit weird, but it's really helpful. But it's also the hard way, but it does not matter if the way is hard or not. We all need to succeed at the end of the day. This is just one of my personal tips I want to give you.
So your enemy is your best friend.
Yes, yeah, there's a wording even. Yeah, true, and I live that, yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's good. Emil, would you like to add something on your side?
No, not really. I think it's interesting to see how these views that both come from Thomas and one that we have from Doug relates in so many ways, and the challenges we see are similar. And it expresses that I see that there are great challenges for a lot of companies out there going into this, and a lot of fault pits to stumble into. And there are interesting ways of try to avoiding them by focusing on the right thing with the business models that we're showing here also.
I don't know if it was in the question, but I got the question. Just a last remark, and then so what is interesting sometimes, which I really like, is so what also can happen very often. You're working on a strategy, you're working on a business model, you have everything perfect, you invent it, yes, and then it happens. So this is also why it's important. It's not only technology and strategy, it's also the sales. Why sales is so important? Not our sales, the company sales, right? And then you realize everything what they invented is a cool stuff, but there is even a better business model, right? So there is an what is coming up, what you can solve with your solution, basically. So just one example, when I was part of it, inventing a wearable, right, for sports, right? But our sales and our experts came back and can say, with this thing, we can help people in autism. It's a huge problem, and it's a lot of people are affected from autism, for example, right? Because this wearable can track different breathing and heart rate variability stuff, and then some machine learning. We see 8 seconds before a trauma patient or an autism gets an attack, yeah, it's always the same behavior in the body. So it's just a small example. This is what I really, really love is that you invent something, it's all good, it's nice and so on, and then some business model, some, let's say, even model comes up, which is even better for the customers and for the company as well. You understand what I mean? So this also can happen. This is then the perfect case, I would say, if this happens.
Very, very inspiring, very interesting. Okay. I don't know if I mean, Jorgo would like to do a few more remarks, or we can close our session here today. I think it has been really very, very inspiring, very interesting. So if nobody,
I'm not sure if we really had an answer to the question from Thomas Weishaupt regarding culture as an enemy, but I'm not sure if I really understood that correctly. So if I think it's depending on if you have a solution for a broad public, then you need also a look at culture. So is it usable in an Arabic state or not? But if you're looking at a very focused area, you have a specific solution for a machine and do predictive maintenance, you don't have to look at that at all. But that's my opinion. But Thomas, perhaps you have a different or opinion on that.
Another book we can write about this. So one company, first of all, it is the company culture, Thomas Weishaupt. It's absolutely correct. And there is a saying, it's called this, what is not invented in-house dies, right? So basically it's a big, so what is it called? There is a wording for it. Maybe you know it. So it's a syndrome, right? So it's called not invented here, NIH.
Yeah, I would say the same, yeah.
Just the board and all the experts block it, right? Mostly in government institutions and so on. But this is the first thing. Second thing is the culture is very much dependent on the geographical aspect where you're dealing, right? So going to a US company, it's totally different than to a DACH or European company, and it's totally different to go an Emirate or Saudi Arabian company, right? So this you need to know, not only when you work in a project group, you need to know the local culture as well, right? So for example, what is very, very interesting is in the Emirates, just my point of view, and probably we have somebody here is, but it's always important somehow, if it's a really important project, to make the country a little bit better also. This is very important for them, and to include the kids, and also very, very important is to include the whole family, basically. I'm not talking only to businessmen, but also, for example, the women there, yeah? They are very, very high educated and they have great ideas. So this is in Emirates, I would say, yeah? This is very, very important, and everybody thinks you just should talk to the men and whatever, right? So it's very, very important to include the whole thing and to do something also for the kids there and the future of the country. A bit different in Saudi Arabia, right? And the US, you know how it goes. They sell, right? Get the funding, and then they think, oh, how should we do it? Can we do it or not? Also a strategy. And in Germany, you know, we development, and probably then another fish is coming and catches you right from US, probably.
Yeah, that's right. Thinking.
Yes. But it's perfect. It's perfection. This is where also Germany, for example, is known for. But now you need to, you said it, Jörg and Alessandro, you need to be fast now, right? So it's better, I would say. I was also working in Silicon Valley. I was not really a friend of that because I saw a huge solution. Everything was fine, and then huge funding, and then you dig into the technology. They had nothing basically, but 5 million funding. Okay, it's a good start. So a good mix of, let's say, the German mentality and the US mentality, and a little bit of heart from countries like Japanese or so on. So also to think about the mankind, the humans, and so on. This is a very nice combination to make it successful. I'm talking too much already. I'm sorry for that.
This is a signal here.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. That was really very interesting conversation, very interesting event. I would like to close our session here today. And as usual, the European Technology Chamber is very grateful to our speakers for their intervention, of course. And what we do is that we give a little present. The present is a tree that we are going to plant in Africa. for you and your name, and we give you a certificate, which is a numbered certificate with which is about the tree that we are going to plant for you. Of course, I mean, you don't have to go to Africa to water your trees. Will that take? We'll do that for you, so you don't have to do that. And so, I mean, Alexander has left us, but Emil, I mean, you can take it and then give to, of course, Alexander. So we have this certificate for a tree to Alexander Frigo. Thank you so much for your great intervention. And the second one is to Doug. Thank you so much for your intervention. That was really, really inspiring and interesting. And that's your certificate as well. So thank you so much for this session. We'll all wait for the new session that we will have in June. In June, it will be about safety at work with the IoT. So another very interesting topic. And we hope to see you again very soon. Thank you so much. I wish you a nice weekend to everybody.
Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.